Alright guys, welcome back. Today we are going to deep dive into a popular emerging prompt engineering technique called the tree of thought. This is an interesting one as it performs like a chain of thought but with multiple branches. So imagine when you have a few different ideas, propositions, or solutions and you want to use ChatGPT to kind of work through them with you to find the best one to go with. And you could do this with a simpler prompt or a chain of thought one as well. But as I have mentioned multiple times before, certain techniques are always more useful than others for certain scenarios. So without further ado, let's jump in. The tree of thought technique came out on this paper, which as always is linked down in the description below. LLMs will generally work through a prompt along a certain path that's identified and determined at the beginning of the calculation process. And it doesn't necessarily have good reasons to change that path or consider other paths. And also, it will never backtrack unless prompted. So imagine tree of thought as a tree with multiple branches where each branch acts as a possible reason path that can lead to a potential outcome. The tree of thought technique is a style of prompting that begins at the heart of the tree where the user prompts the AI to carefully walk as many number of branches as required, find the best reasoning, and thus come to the best conclusion or outcome. There are 4 steps to this technique. First is brainstorming, where you ask the model to essentially brainstorm the different options that can be explored. Think of this as the step to identify the branches. Once the brainstorming session is over, we need to set the evaluation criteria for each of these paths. This step is called the evaluation step, where you're looking at the pros and cons or SWOT analysis or whichever framework you think is needful for the problem at hand. This is set by you, and then the LLM is asked to travel the different paths as identified during the brainstorming stage to now evaluate them against the rules set earlier. After that, the model will become more aware of the different paths and how they perform against the set of rules. Now, with that knowledge, you prompt the AI to explore different paths and ask it to expand on the scenarios that can result out of these. This is the third step, which is called exploration or expansion. The final step, called the decision, can now take the information gathered at step 2 and step 3 and rank the outcomes for you, which is based on the performance indicators in step 2 and subjective analysis done in step 3. And this is how you're able to consider multiple options and reach the most optimal one for your use case. Let's look at an example to drive this home. We will use ChatGPT for this one, and as usual, the prompts I'm going to use are going to be linked in the description below. Alright, so let's say you want to improve your health this year. You got your diet plan figured out and you want to start working out, and you decided to take some suggestions from ChatGPT. Now you could directly ask ChatGPT to give you a workout plan based on your goals and situation, but you're smart, so you decide to take the tree of thought technique for a spin. This is how this would look. Step 1, brainstorming. You tell ChatGPT about the problem, give it a few details about yourself. Here I've written that I'm 30 years old and weigh about 180 pounds and that I would like to lose 20 pounds in the next 6 months. I'll also talk about how much time I can dedicate towards working out and that I have a lower back pain. You can always give it more details, but for this example, let's just leave it at that. So ChatGPT comes back with 3 solid suggestions: strength training, cardio, and yoga. These are all genuinely good options, and it also gives us a short description on what they each do and a couple of pointers curated for me, like to address the lower back pain and whatnot. Okay, so what is the best out of all 3? Let's move to step 2, evaluation. You ask it to go through each of the options and revisit them in light of pros and cons in alignment with your personal goals, enjoyment, training difficulty, health benefits, etc. This is where ChatGPT will go back and do some further calculations where it'll look at all the things that it may not have had looked at when you asked it to brainstorm in the first place. You see what we did? And this part about assigning probability of success and confidence level is to ensure it actually spits out the statistical outputs as well to make it easier on the upcoming steps. As you can see, it came back with a very well sorted list of factors we wanted it to look at and also share some thoughts on them. The scores for the success probability and confidence are also nicely provided below with each one of them. Feel free to pause the video and read through them if you're interested. Great, let's move on to step 3. exploration, or expansion. At this step, we ask it to almost go through the experience of each. So workout plans, equipments, resources, time, and other roadblocks that may arise and how to deal with them, etc. Again, feel free to go as short or lengthy with these components as needed. So ChatGPT does exactly that and comes back with all of those answers. You see, if you were to follow the traditional methods of researching these yourself, you would go through all of these steps, just that maybe the research would have been more intuition based and not so organized. However, instead of just accepting the first answer ChatGPT gives you, you are feeding it with a style of thinking to ensure it goes back every time and reanalyzes the components. So now that you made ChatGPT look at everything you wanted to, let's start step 4, the decision. Nothing crazy here. You just ask it to take all of the above into consideration and rank the 3 options and explain how it came to those decisions. And there you have it. Strength training wins for the specific case due to it being more effective at time, since you wanted to lose the weight in 6 months, and also will help you build strength and core stability to help recover from the back pain. So there you have it, guys. You can use the tree of thought technique in many different cases to get through these dilemmas much easily. Let me leave you with a few more examples to strengthen the understanding, and again, link to the prompts are going to be in the description below, so don't worry. Nevertheless, feel free to pause the video to read them as well. Here's one for choosing a career path. Here's one for planning a vacation. Here's one for buying a new car. You see, so many use cases, and honestly, it's a pretty easy technique compared to the type of results it produces. That's all for today. As usual, if you found the video useful, leave a like and share it with others. A lot of work goes into these videos, so it means a lot to me. Subscribe for more content like this, and with that, let's keep learning.